Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2 of November 2008 for paper 2 of Math Syllabus D. Now let's move on to question number 1. Alright, so we have two sections. Section A, we have to answer all the questions in this section. So part 1, we have in 2006 the cost of fuel was 91.8 cents per liter. So basically 1 liter was 91.8 cents, but it is $0.918. Okay, now part 1, calculate the maximum number of whole liters that could be bought for $15. So pretty easy. We know that $0.918 will give you 1 liters. Now $15, it will give you 1 divided by 0.918 times 15. Okay, 1 divided by 0.918 times 15, that will be 16.339. So whole liters will be only 16. That is part 1. Now part 2, in 2007, the cost of fuels was increased by 4 cents per liter. Okay, now part 1, calculate the percentage increase in the cost. So pretty easy. Percentage increase will be equal to increase is 4 cents over the initial amount was 91.8 times 100. That will be 4.36%. That is your answer for part A. Now for part B, on average, a car traveled 21 km on 1 liter of fuel. Now in 2006, this car traveled this many km. In 2007, the car traveled the same distance. So we have to find what is the extra cost for fuel in 2007. So one by one, let's first find out how many liters of fuel you will use to travel this much. So first number of liters that we need is basically, so using this ratio, we know that 1 liter, so 21 km will be 1 liter. Now 19,200 will be 1 divided by 21 times 19,200. That will be the ratio of 9,142/7 liters. So you will use that much liters to travel the distance. Right, now, what is the extra cost? And the cost has to be to the nearest dollar. So pretty easy. We know the difference in cost in those two is 4 cents. So we take 4 cents times the number of liters, which is 9,142/7 times 4 will be this much, 3657.14 cents. Now has to be in dollars. In dollars, that will be divided by 100, that will be $36.5714. Now to the nearest dollar, it has to be $37 as your answer. Now for part 3, we have in 2006, the cost of fuel was 10% less than the cost in 2005. Calculate the cost in cents per liters in 2005. So let's write this down in this way. 2005, we don't know the cost, but in 2006, we know the cost was given by 91.8 and it was 10% less. So it was 90%. So the initial amount was 100% and that will be 90%. So we use ratios to find the value of x. So 90% is equal to 91.8. So what is 100%? That will be 91.8 divided by 90 times 100. That will be 102 as your answer. So this is your answer in terms of cents, 102. That is part A. Now for part B, we have a service station sells unleaded, super unleaded, and diesel fuel, 3 kinds of fuel. The pie chart represents the amounts of fuel sold during 1 week. Okay, now part 1, we know that everything together was 54,000. So everything was 54,000. So looking at the pie chart, you know that the angle of everything should be 360 degrees will be everything. Now part 1, how many liters of diesel was sold? Diesel is only 90 degrees. That will be 54,000 divided by 360 times 90. That will be 13,500 liters of diesel was sold. Now part 2, the amount of unleaded fuel sold was 2/3 of the total for the week. So let's find out how much was sold. It was 2/3 for the week was 54,000. So 2/3 times 54,000, that will be 36,000, right? And how many liters of super unleaded fuel was sold? Pretty easy. We just have to find the difference. So everything was 54,000. We sold 13,500 of diesel and 36,000 of unleaded. So remaining will be super unleaded. So 54,000 minus 13,500 minus 36,000. That will be 4,500 as your answer. Okay, that is for part B, question number 1. Now we have to do question number 2. So here we have 8 straight paths in a level garden in the shape of this, with rotational symmetry of order 4. Okay, since we have 4 of similar shapes on each side, so this are the same, that's why it has order 4. Now order 4, we take 360 divided by 4, that should be 90 degrees. So the center joined to them should be 90 degrees. But anyways, that is not important here. Let's move on to the question. So here we have one of the path, which is ABC. Now two paths AB and BC form part of the isosceles triangle ABC. So which means this side and this side are the same. This have to be 65 and this has to be what? 180 minus 65 minus 65, that will be 50. Okay, now let's see what else. So we have AC is 10 and angle BAC is 65. Okay, good. Now part 1, we have to find the length of AB. So find the length of AB, this one. So there's many ways to find this. One of the way is using sine rule, right? So we know this one. So 10 over sine of 50 is equal to AB over sine of 65. From this, AB has to be 10 sine of 65 divided by sine of 50. That will be 11.8. That will be in terms of meters. That is for the length of AB, correct to 3SF. Now we have to find the triangle ABC. Formula, half of the angle sine of the angle 50 and times the two sides, that will be 11.8 square. Half. So answer square times sine of the angle 50 degrees. That will be 53.6 meters square. That's the area of the triangle ABC. So let's try again. Half times sine of 50 times 11.8 square, 53.3. So let's try using the exact value. Let's see what happens. So AB is equal to 10 sine of 65 divided by sine of 50 will be this value. So we take half of answer square times sine of 50. Yep, 53.6 for the value here. Now part 3, find the area of the garden enclosed by all the 8 paths. So we have to find the area of this shape. So we can play with the shape to see how can we find this. So we can just join these 2 points. So since we know that this shape has rotational symmetry of order 4, it means that all the triangles are the same. So this are the same. So we know this already, it is 53.6, right? This also have to be 53.6, 53.6, 53.6. So what is the area of the inside? As you can see, it is a square of side 10. This is 10, 10, 10, and 10. So area will be 10 times 10 will be 100. So everything together will be 53.6 times 4 plus 100. That will be 314.4, but correct to 3SF will be 314 meters square. That is part 3. Now for part B, we have this shape again, the same shape. We have Ada walked along the path BC and CD. So BC and CD. Now part 1, calculate the angle BCD. So BCD. So how can you find this? So by observation, we can play with this. So first, if you join these two, right, you know that these two are isosceles triangle, and from part A, you know that this angle has to be 65, and this is also 65, and this is 90. So this will be 65 times 2 plus 90. This will be 220. So this angle here will be 360 minus 220. That will be 140. So angle BCD will be 140. Okay, that is the part 1. Now part 2, after walking in the direction of BC, Ada turned to walk the direction of CD. Okay, so BC and CD, state the value of the angle through which she turned. So you have to observe. Let's turn this in this direction. So she first walked from B to C. So by walking B to C, you are going in this direction, right? And then if you want to continue from C to D, you have to turn by this angle. So what is this angle here? So pretty easy, because you know this is 140 and this is a straight line. This is 180. To find this, you take 180 minus 140. This has to be 40. So the angle by which she turned will be 40 degrees. And this is your question number 2. Okay, so let's move on to question number 3. So part A, we have to solve the equation. So what does it mean to solve an equation? It means to find the value of the unknown. Here we have to find the value of P. Now, so as you can see, we have fraction equal to 1. 1 is what? 1 is 1 over 1 equal to P minus 3 over 2. So we have fractions everywhere, and the base are all different. So we want to eliminate the denominators. So we have to multiply by the LCM. LCM is you can just multiply these 3 together. So 3 times 1 times 2 is 6. So let's multiply everywhere by 6. So you will have this multiplied by 6 will give you 4p plus 2 equal to 6 equal to, sorry, this is plus, not equal to, 3p minus 6. Now we have to simplify to see what happens. So this is not 6, this is 9. I apologize, because this over this times 6 will be 3 remaining, 3p minus 9. Okay, this one is not good. Now we have to simplify, so we send this over here. You will have p is equal to 6 minus 9 minus 2. That will be minus 5 as your answer for the value of p. Now for part B, we have to simplify. So first, as you can see on top, we have 2v minus 6. If you take out 2, you will have v minus 3. Now for the base, we can factorize. As you can see, this one is a quadratic equation. So v squared is v times v. 3 is 3 times 1. To get minus 2, we have to have minus 3 plus 1. Right. Now these two cancel out. So your answer will be 2 over v plus 1. Okay. Now for part C, the tens digit of a number is x and the units digit is y. Okay. Hence the value of the number is 10 times x plus y. Okay. For example, if x equal to 5, y equal to 6, the number will be 10 times 5 plus 6 will be 56. This is x, y. So this is the example to explain to you what is given above. Now for part 1, we have to look at the question. It says when the digits x and y are reversed, so basically now we have yx, right? The value of the number is increased by 63. Increased by 63. Okay, so the question to have to ask yourself is, initially what did we have? We have xy. Xy was 10x plus y. That was the initial number, right? When x was at the beginning, and then y. But now you have this. What is this? This is 10y plus x, right? Now I tell you that the number was increased by 63. So if you take the new number minus the original number, that should give you 63. Now we have to simplify basically. So 10y minus y is, let's do this here. That will become 9y. And we have minus 9x equal to 63. Divide by 9 everywhere, you will have y minus x equal to 7. And this will be your answer for part 1. Now let's move on to part 2. The sum of the original number and the number with reverse digits, so this is the original number, this one is the reverse digits, is 99. So the sum, now we have 10 y plus x plus, because of the sum, the 10x plus y is supposed to be 99. Now we simplify this, that will be 11y plus 11x, that will be 99. Divide by 9 everywhere, you will have, sorry, by 11 everywhere, you will have y plus x equal to 9. That is your equation number 2. This is shown as required as well. Now part B, hence find the values of x and y. So we have to use these two equations to find the value of x and y. So basically you have to solve a simultaneous equation. So you can solve by substitution, you can solve by elimination, it is up to you. What I can do is take 1 plus 2. So y plus y is 2y minus x plus x will be 0 equal to 16. So from this, y will be 8 and x will be simply 1. So that will be your answer for part B of question C. Now let's move on to question number 4. We have to answer the whole of this question on a sheet of graph paper. The heights of 120 students were measured, so we had 120 students in total. Okay. Now the results are summarized in the table below. As you can see, we have the heights, the groups, and the number of people in each group, right? In total, we need to have 120. If you add everything together, that should give you 120 for the number of children. Now part A, we have to draw a histogram for this information. So this one I think is pretty easy. You guys must know how to draw this by now. I will not be drawing this histogram for you, but I will just explain what you need to find. So histogram looks something like this. So on this axis you will have the frequency density, and this is your heights. Heights, it is given to you each group already, so you have to find this value. So you have to know frequency density is defined by what? By frequency divided by class width. Okay, so to find the class width, you have to look at your groups. Take this number minus this, that will be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 20. This is your class width. Now to find frequency density, you take frequency divided by class width. So 15 divided by 5 will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, and 0.5. So this will be on your y-axis, and h will be this one. So pretty easy. You just have to plot for this information given to you, and then you have to draw your histogram. Pretty straightforward. So part A, histogram. Okay. Now part B, we have to estimate how many children have heights more than 170 centimeters. So let's look, where is that value? Now on the group, you see 170 will be between right here. Now if you observe, it is exactly in the middle. So we have 160, 170, and then 180. So everything we know, like together, 160 to 180, it is 10 people. But since it is exactly in the middle, we assume that we have 5 over here and also we have 5 over here, if that makes sense. Now, how many children has height more than 170? Well, that will be 5. Now let's say the question was asking you, how many children has height less than 170? You will take from this direction all the way, so you have 5 and then everything else. Okay, so just so you know how to think and how to find that value. Now part C, one child was chosen at random, so we choose one kid at random. Now find the chance that the height of this child was less than or equal to 140. So less than or equal to 140 centimeters. Now give your fraction as a fraction in its lowest term. So first let's look for this. Where's this thing? If you look, it is right here. Less or equal to 140 will be 15 people. So your answer will be 15 over everyone, which is 120. We can use your calculator to simplify. So 15 over 120, that will be 1 over 8 as your answer. Okay, that is for part C. Now for part D, we have 2 children who were chosen at random. So now we choose 2 people, right? Now find the chance that they both had heights in the range of this. So let's go in the group to see how many people have heights in the range of this. So 150 to 155, it is 30 people. Okay, so now we choose 2 people. For the first one, it will be 30 over 120. And for the second one will be 29 over 119 because it is without replacement. Okay, so 30 over 120 times 29 over 119. That should be 29 over 476 for your answer. Okay, and this is your question number 4. Let's move on to question number 5. So here we have triangles A, B, and C, and we have a circle inside of R, P, and Q, right? So this is circle center O. Now let's see what information we have. So first thing is, explain why angle CQO is 90. So CQO is 90. So there's many explanation. Let's see what can we tell them. Because as you can see, it said the line BC touches at Q. Because the reason why is because BC is tangent to circle at Q. That's why it should be 90 degrees. Now part 2, given that ACB is 40, find ROQ. So this one is also tangent. So ROQ will be what? Pretty easy. If you look at this shape, it is 1 side, 2, 3, 4 side. So 4 side shape has angle of 360, everything together. So this will be 360 minus 40 minus 90 minus 90, that will be 140. Okay, so that will be the answer for part 2, which is angle is 140. Now part B, we have the line DE touches the circle at S. Okay, now we know something here is the triangles ABC and ADE are similar. That is given to us. So where's triangle ABC? ABC and ADE are similar. That is good to know. Now this side will be corresponding to this side, and this side will be corresponding to this side. And this is the same for both, right? If you can see A, they both have the angle A. Okay. Now let's see what do we have to do. So we have to write down the value of angle AED. So AED, where's that? AED. So how can you find this? By using symmetry. This angle has to be the same as this. It will be 40. So that will be 40 degrees. Now part 2, given that the angle ROP is 100, so we have ROP is 100 here, so we have to find the angle ROS. ROS, so R is here, OS. So we have to, let's join this 2, Okay, so what do we know about this shape? So one thing we can derive here is that since the line DE touches the circle at S, DE will be a tangent to the circle as well. The line SO will be perpendicular. This is 90. If this is 90, this also is 90. So what can we derive from that? Let's see. We have to find this angle. So to find this, we may have to see what can we find first. So if you want to derive something here, is this is 100, this is 140. So what is this one? This will be 360 minus 140 minus 100. That will be 120. Okay, this is 90. This is 90. So what is this value? This will be 360 minus 120 minus 90 minus 90. That will be 60. So this is 60. This also has to be 60. Okay. Now if this is 60, this has to be 120. Because it is a straight line, this will be 180. So this is 120. So we have to find this angle here. So pretty easy. 360 minus 120 minus 90 minus 90, that will be 60. So this angle here is 60 degrees. So answer ROS is 60 degrees. Okay. Now for part 3, let's see what we have here. We have all these sides given to you already. Let's now mark the angles again. This is similar, corresponding to this. This is this. And this is the same for both. Right. So we have to find the length of BE. BE will be this one. We can first find the big one, BA, and then minus AE to get BE. So how do you find this one? We have to use similarity to find this. So let's do one by one. So here we have this big side, it is 20. So we can say the side of AC over the corresponding side will be 4, because as you can see, the big side here is opposite the angle blue, that is this big side. So we have to compare to opposite to this one, it is this one, 4. It is equal to the big one here is BA. That will be opposite the black one will be 3. So we first have to find BA, will be 3 times AC, that will be 20, divided by 4, that will be 15. So from this you can find BE is equal to 15 minus 4, that will be 11. This is your answer for question number 5. Let's move on to question number 6. So each diagram in the sequence below consists of a number of dots. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have dots for each diagram. Now, let's see what do we have else. So we have a table here. We have to write down the value of P. P is the diagram number 4. Let's count. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should be 9 as well. Plus 1, that should be 10, 19. That will be 19. Right? If you count, you will find 19. Okay. Now we have to find the value of Q. So if you verify, increasing by 4, increasing by 6, increasing by 8, so increase by 10, that will be 29. So Q will be 29 according to this sequence. Now for part B, what do we have here? Another sequence. We have dots now in this pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, number of dots S1, S2. So okay, first one is we have to write down the value of J. J is for 4. We count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So J will be 16. So now what is the value of K? If you observe, this is basically 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, this will be 5 square, which is 25. So what is the term in terms of n? So pretty easy. If that was n, that will be n square. Your answer for part 3. Now for part C, Another sequence is formed by form whose nth term is given by Tn minus Sn. Sn you know is n squared already, right? Tn you don't know yet. It is from part 1. Now it says we have this. U1 is 0, U2 is 1, U3 is 2. Evaluate U4 and U5. Pretty easy. U4 has to be 3 and U5 has to be 4 according to the sequence, right? Because 1 becomes 0, 2 become 1, 3 become 2, so 4 will become 3, 5 will become 4. Now for this one, pretty easy as well. U of n will be n minus 1, right? Now for part 3, hence using my expression for Sn, and this express Tn in terms of n. So pretty easy. We know that Un is equal to Tn minus Sn. So to make Tn become subject, well, that will be Un plus Sn. So Un is n minus 1, Sn is n squared. That will be your answer for part 3 of question C. And that will be question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So this is section B. We only have to answer 4 questions, but of course I will be doing all of them just to help you guys. Now a light aircraft flew from Maseru to Nata and returned to Maseru. So this is Maseru. You fly to Nata. At first you go in this direction and then you have to fly back again from this to this. And both have the distance of 1080 and 1080. Okay, that is the first information that we know. Now part A, the distance is this, good. Now part 1, on the outward flight, outward means from this to this, the average speed of the aircraft was x km per hour. So x km per hour was the average speed. Now first question, write down the expression in terms of x for the time taken in hours. So as you guys know by now, the formula for speed is distance by time. Time will be distance divided by speed. So here it will be, time will be, distance is 1080 divided by x. That will be your first answer. Now for part 2, on the return flight, the average speed was 30 km greater than the average speed on the outward flight, which means the speed was x plus 30 because it was greater than. Okay, now again we have to find the time taken. So time taken will be distance divided by speed. So that will be distance is 1080 divided by the new speed will be x plus 30. Okay, now part B, the time taken on the return flight was half an hour, which is 1/2 hours, less than the time taken on the outward flight. So basically it's trying to say, they are trying to say the outward flight, the time taken of the outward flight minus the time taken of the return flight should give you half, because it takes more time to go. More minus less will give you half, right? So using this information, we have to show this is the equation that we have. So pretty easy. So we use the previous values we know. What is the time taken of the outward flight? We know it is 1080 over x minus the return flight was 1080 over x plus 30 equal to half. Now you have to simplify. Let's first simplify this side. So we have to cross multiply 1080 x plus 30 minus 1080 x equal to 1/2, and this will be over. We have to multiply, there will be this. Now simplify, that will be 1080 x plus 32 400 minus 1080 x over x times x plus 30 equal to half. That will cancel out, and then we just have to cross multiply. You will have this time this will be So times 2, that will be 60 this equal to x squared plus 30x. So bring everything to one side. So you will have x squared plus 30x minus 64800 equal to 0. That is shown as required as this equation. Now part C, we have to solve this equation. You can solve by factorization, or you can just use your formula directly. So x will be minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 30 squared minus 4 times a times c. That will be this 260,100 divided by 2a will be 2. So x can be, let's see, 510, so minus 30 plus minus 510 divided by 2. So from this we can derive x can be minus 30 plus 510 divided by 2. That will be 240. Or x can be minus 30 minus 510 divided by 2 minus 270. So we have two values for x, but since x represents the speed, we'll take speed to be positive. This will be rejected. Of course, at first you will leave the two values for your answer, right? You will have to write the two values for C, but we will use this value only for your question. But of course, like when you finish solving this question, your answer will be both x equal to 240 and minus 270. Okay, that will be your answer for part C. But now following up the next question, we will not use this value, we will use only this one. Okay, so part D, we have to calculate the time taken in hours on the outward flight. So time taken was equal to 1080 divided by x, that will be 240. That will be what? That will be 4.5 hours. Now for part 2, we have to find the average speed for the whole flight from Maseru to Nata and back to Maseru. So pretty easy again. So by definition, what is the formula for average speed? It is equal to total distance divided by total time taken. So total distance will be 1080 plus 1080 because going and coming back, divided by the first one is 4.5 plus what is the time taken to return? It will be this one. This was 1080 plus x 240 plus 30. That will be 4. So your answer will be 2 times 1080 divided by 8.5. That will be 254.1176. That will be 254 km per hour, correct to 3SF. That is your question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. So C is a point on the slope, okay, with the highest point B, where CB is 10. Okay, CB is 10. Now a vertical mass at AB, that's the vertical mass, okay, of height 15 stands on B, and angle ABC is 105. Okay, now what is the question? It says AC is one of the wires that support the mass. Okay, now part 1 is write down the angle between CB and the horizontal. So CB and the horizontal, we have to find this angle. That is the horizontal. So if you want to continue this one, right, we have a slope here. If this is 105 degrees, that will be, what is this one? That will be 180 minus 105, that will be 75. And this will be the angle that we need, so 180 minus 75 minus 90, that will be 15. So 15 will be your answer for the first one. Now for part 2, calculate the length of the wire AC. So how would you find that? Pretty easy. We can use our cosine rule, right? So you have cosine of the angle 105 is equal to the two side square. So 10 square plus 15 square minus AC square over 2 times 10 times 15. So we have to cross multiply. So 2 times 10 times 15, that will be 300 cos of 105 is equal to 10 square plus 15 square. That will be 325 minus AC square. So AC square will be 325 minus 300 cos of 105. That will be 42.646. AC will be square root of that. That will be 20.1. So the length of AC will be 20.1 meters. Now moving on to part B. Now we have D is another further point down the slope, okay, and AD is another supporting wire, okay. Now part 1 question is, given that AD is 30, calculate the angle ADB. So find this angle. Now we can find this by using the sine rule, right? So this is opposite this one, and this is opposite this one. So we can write 30 over sine of 105 is equal to 15 over sine of the angle D. So we have to make this become subject. You will have 15 times sine of 105 divided by 30. That will be 0.483. So D will be sine inverse of the value. That will be 28.9. Okay, so that will be your answer for the angle. Now for part C, what do we have here? It says the points B, E, and F are horizontal on the ground. B, E, F. Okay, and the mass is supported by another wire, AF. Okay, now part 1, we have to find the length of EF. EF will be this one. How can you find this? So let's see. We can first find BF. Okay, so BF, as you can see, it is part of this right angle triangle. So we can first find that. That will be BF square plus 15 square is equal to 20 square. So BF square is what? Is 20 square minus, so 20 square minus 15 square. That will be 175. So BF is equal to square root of 175. So now we can use this value to find EF. If you put this as 175 here, to find EF, we can use the same theorem again. So we have this side and this side, so 20 square plus EF square should give you root of 175 square. That will be EF. So I think I made a mistake because that is not possible. That will be 27, not 20. 27, that's why. So 27 square minus 15 square, that will be 504. So this should be 504 and not 175, because it would not be possible to do that if it was less than this one. That will be 504. Sorry for that. Let's correct this mistake. Root of 504 square. So EF will be, square will be 504 minus 400. So EF square will be 104. So EF square root of 104, that will be 10.2. That will be your first answer. Now for part 2, we have to find the angle of elevation of the top of the mass of F from F. So elevation will be this angle. So pretty easy. Let's call this one alpha. So how can you find this? You have to observe. You have this side and this side. This is your opposite side. This is your hypotenuse. You can use sine. So sine of the angle alpha is 15 divided by 27. Alpha will be sine inverse of 15 divided by 27. That will be 33.7 degrees for alpha. This is your angle of elevation from the point F. And this is your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. The diagram shows a roll of material. The material is wound onto a metal cylinder whose cross-section is a circle on radius 10. So basically, we have some kind of a material which is wound around this metal. The metal is the center here, which is a circle of radius 10. Now you have to know in the questions, this is your shaded region. So in the question, this part will be shaded but not the center. Okay, now this is the information. Now the area that has been shaded shows the cross-section of the materials on the roll. Okay, the outer layer of the materials form the curved surface of a cylinder of radius 30. So this layer here is a circle of radius 30. Now part 1, calculate in square centimeters. So you have to know, you have to find your answer in terms of square centimeters. The area of the cross-section of the material on the roll. As you can see here, we have to find the shaded area. So by observation, how would you find that? You would see that we need to first find the area of the big circle minus the small circle to get the area of that shaded region. Okay, so first off, what is the formula for area of circle? So area of circle is equal to pi r square, where r is the radius. Okay, so we use that formula to first find the big area, which is pi r square will be 30 square for the big circle, then minus the small one, pi r square. Let's see what we get. So 30 square minus 10 square, that will be 800. So your answer will be 800 pi centimeter square. But now of course you have to simplify this. So times pi, that will be, your answer will be 2510 centimeter square, correct to 3 SF. Okay, that will be the answer for part 1. Now for part 2, the material is 200 centimeter wide on the roll. Calculate in cubic meters. So cubic meters, it is meters power 3, the volume of the material. So pretty easy. How do you find volume of a prism? You find the volume by taking the cross-section area times the length. So which is 80, so 800 pi, which is this area, times the length, which is 200. That will be 16. So let's try 800 times 200. That will be 160,000 pi. That will be centimeter cube. But you have to find your answer in terms of meters cube, cubic meters. So how do you convert this to cubic meters? So sometimes you can always do this step by step. Let me show you guys. So in that case, so let me write this down here. Let me find a paper first. So where can I write this down? Okay, I can write this down right here. So for example, I want to convert centimeter cube to meters cube. So let's do this step by step. So what do I know about these two? So I know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Now to make this become cube, we have to apply cube on both sides, right? So that's how we convert both sides to cube. So from what I can see, it shows to be 1 meters cube is equal to 100 cube centimeters cube. So that will be 1 meters cube will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters cube. So basically to convert centimeter cube to meters cube, we have to divide by 1 million. So that's how you convert this to this. So going back to your question, we have to convert this to meters cubed, so we have to divide by. So first we have to multiply by pi, then divide by 1 million. That will be 0.503, correct to 3SF. So your answer will be 0.503 meters cubed, 3SF. Now for part 3, when unwound, so when you roll this out, when you open the package, now the length of the material is 150 meters. So we have to find the thickness of the material, giving your answer in terms of millimeters. So first thing you have to understand, when you open this package, what happens? So basically, when you open the package, it will look like a cube. When you open, it will look something like this. So at first it was around the metal rod, but when you open, it will look something like this. Now we know that this length has been given to us according to the question. It tells you that the length is 150. Okay, so this is 150. How about this one? This one we also know it is given to us by 200, but this one is centimeters. So we have to convert to meters. That will be 2 meters. Okay, so that will be 2 meters wide. And you want to find the thickness. The thickness, let's call this one T. We want to find this. So how can you find the thickness? So we have to use the previous answer that we know already. So from part 2, we know that the volume is equal to 0.503 meters cubed. But how do you find volume of this shape? Because this is the same as the first one, right? You know that this shape right here is the same shape as this. It was just cut open and then you have this, right? It must have the same volume basically. Now, volume, how do you find volume of a cube? You know that you have to do volume will be length times width times height. So you will have 0.503 is equal to length times width and times the thickness. So we have to make T become subject. T will be answer divided by 150 times 2. That will be 1.67552 times 10 power minus 3. That will be in terms of meters. But now you want to give your answer in terms of millimeters. So how do you convert meters to millimeters? So 1 meter is equal to 1000 millimeters. So we have to multiply by 1000. So you will have 1.68 as your answer for the thickness in terms of millimeters. That will be part 3 of the question. So your answer will be 1.68. Okay, now part B. The diagram shows a tent, a conical tent, and the diameter of the base is 3.5. Okay, so which means the radius will be 3.5 divided by 2. That will be 1.75. And the slant height, L, is given by 3. This is the slant height. Now question. It is made from a piece of flat canvas that forms a sector of a circle of radius 3. As you can see, this was turned into this, right? Now the angle at the center is theta, this angle here. Question, we have to show theta is equal to this value. So what is common between those two? So we know we use this to make this, so which means that the area of sector here has to be the same as the area of the curved surface. So let's first find the area of curved surface. So area of curved surface, that will be pi RL. Pi is pi, R has been given to you, 1.75, and slant height is 3. That will be 3 times this, that will be 5.25 pi meters square for the surface, the curved surface area, which is also equal to this area of sector. Now, how do you find area of sector? You have to use your formula, which is the angle over 360 times pi r square is equal to this value. Okay, so we have to solve for this value. So these two will cancel out first. So theta will be 525 times 360 divided by 9. That will be 210. This is shown as required. Now for part 2, as shown, the required shape is cut from a rectangular piece of canvas of the width W meters. Okay. Now, given that W is a whole number, you have to find the least possible value for W. Now you have to observe what value W must be so I can cut this canvas from this rectangle. So we have to kind of play with the shape a bit. So let's say, for example, I know that the height I don't need to know, I just need to find the width. So what is the width my shape needs to be? From observation, this is the lowest point and this is the highest point. So I have to make sure that my shape would be at least more than these two lengths combined. At least more than, I need to make sure W is at least more than this length, right? So that we can cut this from the rectangle. Now you observe, this is given to you as 3. And this is also the radius, which is 3. So this to this is the radius. And this is also 3. And we know this is 210. So what is this angle here? That will be 360 minus 210. That will be 150. Divided by 2, that will be 75. So this will be 75. So how do I know they're the same? Because these two are radius, as you can see. So these two angles have to be the same. Now I need to find this length, right? So let's take this out. You will see you have a right angle triangle. Okay, which is 90 here. This is 75. This is 3. And you want to find this length. So we have to use SOHCAHTOA. So this is your hypotenuse. This is your A side, your adjacent side. So SOHCAHTOA. This is your hypotenuse, so H. This is your A side, so A. So we have to use cos. So cos of 75 will be your A side. So A side is x over 3. So x will be 3 cos of 75. That will be 0.776. So basically this length here, this length have to be 3.776, right, for it to be, for us to cut this shape. Now, W is a whole number. So what is the whole number after this number? You would say it is value 4. So W has to be 4. Okay, and that will be your question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. So this one is a graph question. So we will need a piece of graph paper for this year. Okay, so answer the whole question on a graph paper. The number of bacteria in a colony doubles every half hour. As you can see, after every half hour it becomes twice. Times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2. Keep going on. The table below shows the number of bacteria in the colony after T hours. Okay, T hours. Keep going on. Now part 1. Using a scale of 4 centimeter for 1 hour, draw a horizontal axis from 0 to 4. So let's do that. So pretty easy. First thing is 4 centimeters for 1 hour. So we need 3.5 hours. So let's try starting here. Okay, that will be T 4 hours. Of course, you have to begin at the value of 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 3. And that will be 3.5. So it says we have to draw between T and 4. We don't have enough space, unfortunately, so we can only do that for now. For this one, if because usually your graph will be bigger than this, it will be you will be having enough space to draw your graph. but for mine it stops right here. Sorry about that, but usually if you get a graph for your test, it should be long enough to help you for these values. Okay, now using a scale of 2 centimeters to 1000, on the vertical axis we have to draw 0 to 7000. So let's do that. That will be your vertical axis. Okay, 0 to 7000. So using 2 centimeter for 1000. Okay, so basically 1 2, that'll be 1000, that will be 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, that will be 6000, and finally that will be 7000. And of course you have to label your axis. This is your number of bacterias. Okay, that will be your axis. Now next step, we have to plot the points and join them with a smooth curve. So let's do that. Pretty easy. The first point is given to you by 0.50. So what is the value of 1 square? 1000 divided by 10. So half a square will be 50. So begin here. Now 0.5 will be 100. Right here. 1 will be 200. 1.5 will be 400. 2 will be 800. 2.5 will be 1600. Then we have 3 will be 3200. That should be here. And we have 3.5 will be 6400. That should be somewhere over here. So basically we have to join all the points to form a smooth curve. So try your best, because your answers depend on your curve, so you will be using a pencil, so make sure your curve is really smooth. So mine will be, let me try. I think mine will be kind of okay, but we'll see how does it look like. Okay, that will be my curve. It is kind of smooth, so that should be your curve as well for this answer. Now part B, use a graph to find the number of bacteria when t equal to 2.75. So pretty easy. You have to go to the point 2.75, it should be right here, and you have to find the corresponding value of bacteria. So that shows to be this value. So it is very important that you show how you find your answers. That is 2200 according to my graph. Your graph may be a bit different, but your answer should be shown on the graph. That is 2200 for my graph. Now part C, we have to draw a tangent, find the gradient at the time 2.5. So 2.5 is right here. I have to be drawing a tangent. It is a line which touches this point, should be above this value. And then to find the gradient, we have to use 2 points. I will choose, you can choose any point on the line. I will choose this point, and I will choose this point. Okay, let me choose this one. So the first point is 2, and then that will be 550. So we have 2, 550, and this one will be 3 and 250. So 2500, not 250. Okay, so now we can find the gradient by using your formula, which is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 minus 550 divided by 1. That should be your answer, 1950. So state briefly what the gradient represents. So based on the graph, you can see that your y-axis is bacteria and your x will be time. So the gradient is the rate of change of, or the rate of increase of bacteria. So rate of increase, because the value is positive 2, of increase of number of bacteria at time, this one is time 2.5, but you don't need to mention that, you can just write this. That should be enough. Now for part, the number of bacteria in another colony is given by this equation. Okay, now on the same axis we have to draw this graph. So pretty easy. Let's find 2 points. So T0 will be, Y will be what value? That will be 6,500. That's your first point. So T0, Y will be 6,500. So 0, 65 will be right here. That's my first point, and then the other point will be what? Let's try something in between. Let's try the value of 2. So if T is 2, that will be minus 1,000 times 2. That will be 45. So 4,500. So let's try that. 2, 4,500 should be somewhere about here. Okay, so that will be the 2 points. We can join these 2 points to form my graph. That will be a straight line. Okay, you have to continue and cross your curve. Okay, so it'll be in this direction. And you of course have to label this. Let's label this here. That will be, let me look at the equation again. It shows to be y is equal to 6,500 minus 1,000 t for the straight line. Now the question following this is find the value of t when the number of bacteria in each colony is the same. So pretty easy. It is where they meet. They meet here. We have to find the corresponding value of t. So you have to show how you find the value. So what is this value? So if you, that should be 3.1, 3.2, so 3.075. Because this is 3.5, this is 3.1, this is 3.1, this is 3.05, 3.075. So your answer will be 3.075 for this one, but 3SF will be 3.08 hours. Now for part E, given that the equation of the first graph is given by this, find the value of K and L. So of the first graph is this one, right? So you have to see what can we use to help us find that. So we know the first point is given by 0.50, right? That will be your T, and that was your Y. Replace, you see what we have. You will have 50 equal to K times A 0. So anything power 0 will be 1. So K will be 50. That will be 50. Then to find the value of K, we have to use another point. Let's use the other point, which is 1, 200. So this point are being used from your table. Okay, so we choose any point on the table because it's your first graph. That will be T and Y. Replace back in your equation. You will have Y is 200, K is 50, A we don't know, and this is 1. So A will be 200 divided by 50. That will be 4. This is 4 as your answer for part 2. That is your question number 10. Okay, now let's move on to question number 11. So here we have PQ equal to this, P going to Q, QR is equal to 414. Okay, so first question is to find the length of PQ. So pretty easy. First we have to find the formula is magnitude of square root of these two values. That'd be 12 square plus minus 35 square. So 12 square plus 35 square, square root, that will be 37. Now part B, find PR. PR, as you can see, it is PQ plus QR. That will be 12 minus 35 plus QR is 414. that will be 16, and minus 35 plus 14, that should be minus 21. That is PR. Now part 2, given that T is a midpoint of QR, so T is somewhere around here, find PT. So PT will be PQ plus QT. PQ, you know it is 12 minus 35. And QT is half of QR. QR is 414. That will be, this will be what? 27. That will give you 12 plus 2 is 14. Minus 35 plus 7. That will be minus 28. So this is your answer for this one, PT. Now part 3, we have PQRS is a parallelogram. So let's see what can we draw here. For example, so S will be somewhere over here. For it to be this will be parallel somewhere in this point, because these two sides has to be parallel to each other, right? This is your point S. This is the shape of a parallelogram with these two sides are parallel. These two sides have to be parallel as well, and they're both equal in size. So we know that the point R has coordinates 6, 16. So we have to find the coordinates of S. So we have to use the fact that these two are parallel. So which means if you find SR, it has to be in the same direction as PQ. PQ we know already it is equal to 12 minus 35. So to find this one, this is defined by OR minus OS equal to this value. So from this you can find OS will be, OR is given by 6, 16 minus this one, 12 minus 35. That will be minus 6, and 16 minus 35, that will be 51. That will be your answer for OS. Okay, that is your answer. S is a point, minus 6, 51. Now let's move on to part B of this question. Okay, so the diagram shows the triangle ABC. As you can see, we have to find the area of triangle ABC. So how can you find this? Pretty easy. You have to use some kind of observation that can help you. So if you observe, we can first find the triangle of the big one. So big one is half times base is 3, so 2, so 1, 2 times height is 3. That will be 3 for the big one. Now to minus the small one, minus half times base is 2 times height is 1. So you will have 3 minus 1 is 2. So your area will be 2 for this triangle ABC. Okay. Now part 2, an enlargement of scale factor 4 maps the triangle ABC onto the triangle LMN. Okay. So the point A is mapped onto the point 10, 3. So where's 10, 3? 10, 3 is here. Okay. Now question tells you find the coordinates of the center of enlargement. So from what you can see, that should be in this direction, right? Because A is mapped onto the point L is here. So going backwards, the center has to be on this line. That's something we know. Now given that the scale factor is 4, the distance here has to be 4 times. So if you count, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from the point of origin, so from the center of the enlargement, sorry. So we have to count where is that center. So 10, 3 will be here. We know the center will be on this line, so we know it will be 4 times from the center. So it should be on this point. So if you count from somewhere over here, we have to try, because we don't know, we have to try this point. We can try this point, try this point, and try this point to see which one is the good one. So to get this distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 3. From what position it has to be 2 times 4 to get this. So unfortunately, we're not going to use any kind of formula. We have to use trial and error to see which one is correct. Now let's try. So if you use this point as your center, so this is 1 from here, times 4 will be 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be here. So it is not good. If that was your center, that will be 1, 2 times 4. That will be 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. It will be here. It will not be here. Not good. So finally for this one, 1, 2, 3 times 4 is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the point that we have confirmed by trial. This one is the right one. The point is -2, 3. Now for part B, write down the area of the triangle LMN. Okay, so the sides have increased by a factor of 4, but the area will be increasing by how much? So you have to think. So let's see. So if you think about this, you can also, if you don't know what it is, you can always draw something to help you to understand. So the point C here will be mapped. So basically, we don't have enough space to map that. It will be too far away. So let's think what's going to happen to your area. So the scale is 4. It's a scale factor, but the area will be increased. So the initial area was 2. This area will be increased by how many times? By 4 square times. Sorry, by 4 times, not 4 square. That will be 2 times 4. That will be 8. So because, okay, well, yes, because the so I'm sorry to confuse you guys again, because the scale is 4, the scalar quantity. So basically to area, the side, so what happens here is that the side of the triangle will be increased 4 times. The side is increased 4 times. Side, the measurement is centimeter, but the area will have to be increased by square times, increased by 4 square times. Sorry for the confusion. This is 4 is the side, but the area will be square. So 2 times 4 square will be 32, will be the new area of the triangle LMN. Sorry about that. The final answer will be, because the side will be increased by 4 times, but the area will be increased by 4 square times for enlargement. Now for part 3, we have a shear with x-axis as your invariant. Maps ABC onto triangle DEF. Okay, now the point A is mapped onto 7, 3. So 7, 3 will be right here. This is the point D. Now part 1, find the coordinates of E, the image of B. So pretty easy. First you have to find the factor, the scale of the shear. So count from A with your x-axis as your invariant line. You have to count 1, 2, 3. It became 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the shear factor is 2, right? Now for the point B, count is 1 times 2 will be 1, 2. That is your point E, which is 3, 1. Okay, now for part B, we have to write down the area of DEF. So let's find the point F as well. F will be on the same line here. So this one you can draw. If you don't know, you can draw this. But the main concept is that for shear or for stretch, the area will not change. But let's find out what is the area so we can see what is the area. So my answer will be, because I know that it will not change, the area will remain 2. But let's calculate the area so you can be sure, right? Sometimes you don't know what does it mean. We always go back to the basics to see how can you find this area. Now if you observe, if I draw this here, that will be a big triangle. Area of the big one will be half times base. It is 1, 2, 3. Height is 1, 2, 3, 4. The big one is 6, right? Half times base is 3 times 4. The big one is 6. Let me write this over here. The big one is 6 units. Now we have to minus the small one because we only care about this one. So number 2, small one, will be half times base is 2 times height, 1, 2, 3, 4, that will be 4. So area of this one will be 6 minus 4, that will be 2. So area of triangle DEF should be 2, but the main point here is that you have to know sometimes is that with a shear or a stretch, the area will not change. So shear, stretch, area does not change. That's the main point. So that will be your question number 11. That was the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.